Yeah.
Oh.
I think.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Anyway, Jeremy, I'm sorry I missed that last. I'm pulling a 20.
Get
Down.
Are we ready for this?
I'm pulling the.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Come on now, guys. Let everybody wake up. It's 3 o'clock, right? No, welcome to everybody. It is so good to see you, this month. I know everybody's back into our work life after the holidays, and we have this, weather event, shall we say, potentially coming up this weekend. So anyway, I do welcome you today, and I so appreciate everybody being here. And I do call the meeting to order formally, and Mr. Holmes, if you would do a roll call, I would appreciate that.
Madam Chair, Mr. McFadden.
Here.
Mr. Griffith. Here. Mr. Nicely.
Here.
Mr. LaRue. Mr. Billy Martin.
Here, sir.
Mr. Collins. Mr. Spence. Mr. Lips. Here. Mr. Carter. Mr. Kevler.
Here.
Chair Smith.
Here.
Mr. Sandy.
Here.
Mr. Martin, Roanoke County Martin.
Here.
Mr. North.
Here.
Mr. Osborne. And Ms. Shepherd, we have the attendance. Mr. Dressler. Mr. Forbes. Vice Chair Lawson.
Here.
Here.
Vice Mayor McGuire. Ms. Dirk.
Here.
Vice Mayor Anne Marie Green.
Here.
Mr. Holliday.
Here.
Ms. King.
Here.
Ms. Loudermilk.
Here.
Mr. Unruh.
Here.
Mr. Wood. Mr. Clements. Mayor Gross. Mr. Peters. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. If you all will indulge me, if we quickly go around the table and just introduce yourselves for the benefit of some of our newer members and folks that are sitting around the room, that would be very appreciative. You want to start down here, sir?
My name's Woody Lips. I'm alternate citizens representative from Craig County.
Chris Kevler, Citizens Rep from Franklin County.
I'm Dawn Erdman, and citizen rep in the city of Roanoke.
Chuck Unruh, Town Manager for Clifton Forward.
Debbie Laudermilk, Town Council, Clifton Forge.
Steve Sandy, Deputy County Administrator, Franklin County.
D. Martin on Roanoke County.
Bill North, Roanoke County Board.
Peter Ballson, Roanoke City Council.
Lori Smith, Franklin County Board of Supervisors.
Jeremy Holmes, Executive Director of the Regional Commission.
James Griffith, Allegheny County Board of Supervisors.
Billy Martin, Whiteside County. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Brandon Nicely, Whiteside Board of Supervisors.
D. King Salem, representative, citizen rep.
Ken McFadden, County Administrator, Allegheny County.
I am Barbara Dirk. I'm the citizen representative from Roanoke City and just wanted to let you know that 2026 is going to be the best year ever.
That's a paid announcement.
Hunter Holiday, Salem City Council.
Anne Marie Green, Salem City Council.
Okay, and if we could, staff, if you'd like to introduce yourselves?
Sherry Dean, Regional Commission.
Hi, I'm Bailey Medeiros, and I serve as the director for the collective response program here.
Chris Robertson, I'm the Director of Transportation here at the Regional Commission.
I'm Andrea Garland, with Transportation and Land Management for the Regional Commission.
Amanda McGee, I'm the Director of Community Development.
Karen Mueller, Regional Commission.
Anna Botter, the Outreach Coordinator for the Roanoke Valley Collective Response.
Sharon Bolton, Regional Commission.
Jessica Perrin, Public Engagement Manager.
And who do we have?
I'm Diana Everly with Robinson Farmer.
Yes, good to see you again. I will say, like I always say, the power behind the throne is sitting over there against that wall. Our wonderful staff, we're so glad you're with us today. Okay, very good. We will get into our agenda. Mr. Holmes, I'm gathering we have no remote attendance. Okay, very good. Okay, the next thing on our agenda is our items underneath your consent agenda, most of which are financial reports and minutes. and the approval of the agenda. So what I would like to do, is just get a motion on the floor to accept and approve of the consent agenda as submitted unless someone wishes to have something pulled for changes.
Motion to approve.
Okay, second?
Second.
Thank you, Dean. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that carries unanimous. So thank you all very much. I have just a few, brief comments, for chair's remarks. Need to let you know that we had a momentary, panic moment, if you will, week before last, I think it was last week. We had received word that there was gonna be the termination of about $2 million worth of grants for Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. So the commission, we received this grant to support the development and maintenance of peer recovery network, including sub-allocation directed to Bradley Free Clinic that places peers on ride-alongs with first responders who are responding to overdoses. 3 positions were directly impacted here at the commission with this announcement. While several others over at the Bradley Clinic were also impacted with this news. The decision was ultimately reversed. Thank you very much for that within 24 hours.
Good.
So the commission leadership here acted very, very swiftly in an attempt to save these collective response positions that were affected. Our collective response staff should be highly commended, and I want to make sure that I emphasize that for their quick and pragmatic reaction to the news. So, you know, and they're all after, for supporting the stakeholders. So you can imagine, how devastating this reduction in workforce, could have been for our organization. And so, I credit Mr. Holmes and staff, everyone involved in getting this turned around quickly. Does anybody have any questions or need a clarification on that? But we're happy to hear from you. Okay, so it's good news, it's bad news, good news. Okay. Well, I wanted to report that out to you this afternoon. I don't have really any other further remarks, other to say, I am so proud of the work that this board is currently undertaking within our committee structure. We're getting a lot done. We're moving the needle, and I agree with Barbara. 2026 is going to be a remarkable year. And it's going to be a remarkable year for this commission as a whole. So I thank each one of you for your collective contributions to everything that we're going to be able to accomplish. Okay, Mr. Holmes, your remarks.
Sure. You might have seen in the news recently, the last week or so, that the role of the Roanoke Valley Greenway Coordinator, which for about 29 years has existed in Roanoke County, despite being a regional role, is moving back here to the Regional Commission. That commission, for those of you a chance to work with Liz Belcher when she was in that role, she was here with the Regional Commission first before that transferred to Roanoke County, providing the fiscal agency for that position. So we've been working for almost the last year with local administrators, with the Greenway Commission on what that role will look like and how the work will change and the pros and cons of bringing it back into other house of the Regional Commission. There are some additional structural and legal changes. There is an intergovernmental agreement that sort of defines what that role is. Localities, participating localities, Roanoke City, Roanoke County, Botetourt, Salem, and we will be reviewing potential changes to that IGA to make everything that we need to make happen comport with relocating that position here. We're really excited about the move. We think it makes a lot of sense just in terms of what's happening locally with the Greenway development expansion. But one of the other benefits we identified is that work is not going to be this position's full work. What it actually gives us a capacity to do is hire a full-time recreation and economic development planner. So about half of their work, and more or less depending on the year, will be focused on the local Greenway network that Liz and Frank, if you recall, Frank's role did. The other half will be focused on blueways, other economic development work. We fully expect them to be involved in the Allegheny Highlands Outdoor Recreation Group this meeting to provide support there. We've had conversations before about Blue-Way connections to Franklin County, and now we'll have additional capacity to support that work. So we feel that it, gonna be good for the Greenway network, but also good for the region of bringing in someone who's got some stronger background in that work. That position is open currently, it's open through mid-February, we're hoping to fill it by the end of February. And we're just very appreciative to the participating localities administrators, to the Greenway Commission for, again, trusting the regional commission to take on the lead on this regional work. And particularly, he's not here to recognize, but Mr. Lee Osborne, he wears 3 different hats in this role as a representative of the TPO, the Regional Commission, and the Greenway Commission. And he's a lawyer, so he's involved in a lot of these conversations, and has helped figure out how best to change something that's gone one way for 29 years and how that needs to move. So we're very excited about that and about the additional capacity it will bring us, primarily for the next work program, FY27 work program. So thank you.
Is that all you have?
That's all I have.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Holmes regarding this report? Okay, thank you very much, Jeremy, for that. The next item on our agenda, is our FY25 audit report. Mr. Holmes, would you like to make any introductory remarks?
Just would ask Diane Everly to come up to the podium for public talks. For today on the audit, we'll note that the executive committee met earlier in the month, to review this, as well. So we'll see the report already.
Hi, Ms. Everly. It's so nice to see you again.
Good to see you again too.
Yeah, thank you for being with us.
No problem. I appreciate the opportunity to present to you this afternoon. I want to start off by saying that the audit went very well. You received a modified opinion, which means we believe that statements are materially correct. In addition, the commission expended over $750,000 in federal funds this fiscal year. So as a result, we are required to complete specific audits over those federal funds. You also received an unmodified opinion related to those federal funds, meaning we did not know any material compliance issues and did not identify any internal control deficiencies or material weaknesses. A couple other things. Next year, that threshold does go up to $1 million. So just depending on your activity each year will depend on if you need a single audit done. In addition, I know that we're typically here in the December meeting. There was a delay in the audit. We could not release our audit report until the federal government had released their compliance supplement. And so that was not released until November 26th. So the audit was substantially complete, just kind of on hold until that was released. I put in each of your seats a couple of handouts. And the first is your summary of financial data. This is a summary of your data for the last 10 years. At the top, you'll see current assets. Your current assets at the end of fiscal year 2025 were about $1.9 million. That was a decrease from last year. Last year, you had a pretty large accounts receivable that was due at the end of the fiscal year that were related to the housing project. That money was owed to you at the end of the fiscal year, but also you owed it to somebody else. So you'll see that current assets and current liabilities both decreased this year as a result of that same reasoning. Your non-current assets, so your current assets are either cash or other assets that can be liquidated to cash within a year. So your non-current assets for you guys are predominantly the building and the depreciated value in the land. This did increase this year by about $100,000, and that was because of the completion of your elevator project. So overall, your total assets was $2.5 million at the end of the fiscal year. Current liabilities, like current assets, are items that can be liquidated within 1 year. Once again, the decrease this year was because of that Virginia housing project, and that was just the timing of when the money came in and when it went out. Your long-term liabilities is for you guys, that is mainly made up of compensated absences or accrued leave. This year, we were required to implement a new standard, GASB statement number 101. So you will see that increase there. Under the new standard, you now have to estimate a usage liability for your sick leave. So what that means is you estimate how much of sick leave will be used over the life of your employee's time during their employment, plus any amounts that you would pay out at the end of they're like if they were to leave. So for you guys, you would have the usage of sick leave and what you would pay out for their vacation. Prior to this standard, you were only reporting that vacation that would be paid out upon termination. This did result in a restatement just for the standards. Below that is your net investment capital assets, which is mainly made up of your capital assets, so your building and your land that you have here. And your unrestricted net position at the end of fiscal year 25 was 1.3 million. You'll see that that has gradually increased over the last 10 years. Over the last 5 years, that growth has exceeded the increase in CPI. It is important to note that we have seen increased inflation and costs and salaries across the board, so that's something to keep in mind. On the next handout is the communication with those charged with governance. In this letter will tell you of any issues that we had during the audit. We did not have any issues. Your staff is great to work with. In addition, it points out any significant estimates used during the audit. So for you guys, we like to say that you received the boilerplate letter. Also, as part of this letter, we are required to attach a copy of our proposed adjusting entries. You had very few adjusting entries. Sherry does a great job for you guys here. And the last handout is our audit recommendations. This year, we selected to review the substance abuse program as part of our federal audit. During our review of that audit, we noted that the quarterly performance reports were submitted after the due date or untimely. After we talked to staff here, they made us aware and they had email communications with the project officer who was helping them, that they had complications submitting these reports. So it wasn't a federal issue from that standpoint because they were aware and they were trying to work with your staff here to get that submitted. So with that, I'm gonna pause to see if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Diane. I appreciate that. Judy, the commissioner, do you have any questions or feedback to share with the commission and with Ms. Everly? I would like to commend Sherry. Sherry, you're amazing. I think you know that. You know, we have these nice, wonderful audit findings with no material weaknesses, and we understand why that occurs. And it's your expertise with Mr. Holmes, and very much appreciated. So just to restate, Diane, no material weaknesses cited. Pretty much a clean audit.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that that's great. We appreciate your time in performing this audit.
Thank you. And at any point you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Sherry and Jeremy both have my contact. They also have Corbin's contact. I know some of you guys are more familiar with Corbin. So please feel free to contact us at any point.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being with us.
And enjoy the snow.
Okay.
It was going so well.
So as part of the audit, I need, we have a resolution to approve the audit as it has been submitted. So would somebody willing to make a motion to approve the audit? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That carries unanimously. Okay, very good. The next item is our bylaws committee. Mr. Osborne, of course, is not here. Jeremy, are you reporting?
You want me to take it?
Dave, thank you
Okay.
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In your package, you're gonna find, what we have suggested changes for the bylaws. So we'd like for everybody to review them because we are not taking a vote today, but we would like to have input if you see anything that needs to be changed.
So Dee, is it your committee's intention, to try to adopt these at our next meeting?
I believe that is the process.
Okay.
Anne Marie, are you with that? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I know you all put in a lot of work on this, and, you know, bylaws are not something really fun to work on. But it's, you know, they're important.
Yep. And we did have some things that came up that we felt like didn't need to be in the bylaws, but could be a policy of the
Yeah.
commission, so.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that distinction. That's very important. Yeah, but I really thank you all for all the work that you put in on this. And, I would, again, as Dee said, encourage you, to read over those red line changes. And if you want further understanding or have questions, please give the, Dee or Lee a call.
Lee, yep, sure,
Yeah, Lee,
absolutely.
yeah, and Lee, of course, is not with us today. But we'll convey our gratitude to him as well for all of this work. It's a nice body of work.
Thanks.
Madam Chair, if I might add one, just a
Please.
quick note.
Please.
Again, the file committee did a great job. There's a lot of cleanup. We had to really touch the
Yeah.
bylaws in a significant amount of time. A couple of issues, as Kane mentioned, some policies. So we're also using this opportunity to refresh the remote meeting policy. Mullen's been doing a lot of work to make sure that complies with, changes in state law, potential reimbursement policy for board members. I think one of the most notable changes in the bylaws that we'll make sure folks pay attention to is, when the initial bylaws draft still assume May elections for local elected officials. So what we discovered, if you recall, both Mr. Lawson and Ms. Smith served these half terms when, Mr. Wallace was not elected. So one of the major changes you'll see is rewriting the officer terms to comport with November election. So that does mean that Mr. Lawson and Ms. Smith will get to serve an extra couple of months.
Enjoy.
Like a half a year
Enjoy.
extra.
Yeah.
You guys did to us, yeah, so, no, 2-year terms don't mean a whole lot at this place.
So I wanted to know, because there was a lot of discussion around how to make that make sense with the changes. If you had any questions about why we'll be revisiting officer terms and things like that, and that's because of that. Should try to make them match the November cycle.
Very, very good. Okay, any questions, anything that arose through your review of the red line copy that was in the packet? Happy to entertain any thoughts, comments? Okay, we will move on from that. Thank you, Dee, for that. The next item on our agenda, is the approval of the 26 revised budget. You will recall that we, pretty much set an expectation for the commission that there would be mid-year adjustments as we typically have. So we're at that point, and Mr. Holmes, I will defer to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You have a report in your packet, kind of summarizing the changes to the budget. Part of the reason we always do this is when we pass the budget in May, even June sometimes, because so much of our funding comes from grants. We don't always know, even by June, what some of those grant amounts will be, and we can get them. So we generally budget pretty conservatively while we're waiting for that information. So we take this opportunity, usually those are awarded by October. We take this opportunity to kind of square the budget with primarily what you're seeing the impact of the budget processes. So two main things really. One is we received more money from the Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority than we had asked for. Really, we should receive about another $100,000+ from them. So part of what you're seeing on the revenue side is that additional money, and what you're seeing on the expense side is how we are then spending that money out this year on programs, training, marketing, so forth. So those things are kind of matching up. That's one of the big things. The other, we always make our best guesses about when we're going to get to hire people. But for example, that recreation planner, I mentioned, we assumed that person would start in September. Now they are starting February to March. So there's expenses associated with them that this budget reflects, kind of adjusting that out. It also does reflect the additional money we will be getting from the Greenway member localities. They will pay an assessment to cover that staff person. The Greenway Commission also has a reserve balance that Roanoke County currently holds. So you're seeing on the revenue side, that reserve balance moving from Roanoke County over to the commission. It will remain a constrained fund just for Greenway Commission activities, but it is coming into our books as revenue. So I think those are some of the main things you're seeing in the report, the highlights, and A lot of other things are just again squaring those grants away. This doesn't reflect anything major that we didn't know, except for maybe the more OAA money coming in that we planned. That was probably the biggest surprise, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have about this process. Again, the executive committee saw this at their meeting and is recommending.
Are there any questions on these adjustments? You have a handout in your packet under the executive committee's report on the revised 2026 budget. If you have any questions or comments, we'd love to entertain those at this time. Okay, y'all are gonna be so friendly today. Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Do the motion. Second.
Thank you, and we will have a roll call vote, please, Mr. Holmes.
Chair, Mr. McFadden,
Yes.
Mr. Griffith, Mr. Nicely,
Yeah.
Billy Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Lips,
Yes.
Mr. Kevler,
Yes.
Chair Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Sandy,
Yes.
Mr. Dean Martin,
Yes.
Mr. North,
Yes.
Vice Chair Volleson,
Aye.
Ms. Erdman,
Yes.
Ms. Dirk,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Green,
Yes.
Mr. Holiday. Oh, he has stepped out. Ms. King,
Yes.
Slatterville,
Yes.
Mr. Unruh,
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes, we appreciate that. Okay, the next on our agenda, next item on our agenda are the annual project updates, and I'm gonna go through this, right?
He is going to lead staff
Yes,
through this process.
great.
All right, this is the first of 3 times you're gonna hear me speak today, and so I will try to keep this as quick as possible. I am Amanda McGee, I'm the director, and I'm here to kind of lead off our annual project updates. You will hear from all of the directors today, so. Just an overview of what we're gonna see today. We're gonna start with community development, we'll move into transportation, TDM, and then collective response. So I did include just our handy core programs guide over there, just because in previous years, what you've heard from me is separating out community development into like economic development, environmental programs, and also community development, and that's all lumped together. But there's some notes, so it's gonna look a little different from previous years. So we'll start with community development projects. I'm not gonna go into all of these, but you do have a list of all the projects that we currently have progress on. I will note for this one, the highlight project on this page that you'll hear a little bit more about is the Botetourt County Septic at the end of these slides. I want to note that community development includes a wide variety of things. We have several staff that work in community development. Tara from Milliner is here. Brian Hill, you're familiar with. Shira Goldman is the key staff members on a lot of these things. And then of course, Jeremy also is staffing this. And we have also participation from transportation staff this year because we have so many community development projects that we're processing this year. We had a very robust interest in the work program last year, so this is several slides. In terms of kind of more highlights here, the Craig County project unfortunately hit a roadblock, so I wanted to note that for you. You will hear an update on the SEDS in June. That's a more robust update. In terms of this slide, just to make sure that I'm highlighting things here that you may want to know about. The regional utilities infrastructure white paper, which has also been called white paper internally. That project is also on hold due to some re-budget issues, and just we had less staff time than we budgeted for because we actually hired one of the positions later in the year. So unfortunately, that problem is on hold at this point, or that project is on hold at this point. You're gonna get a big presentation on the hazard mitigation plan that I'm sure you're all excited about. And then you'll also get a presentation on the Roanoke River Blueway. Just check in later today. Some of these projects are split out. They are specific to kind of a lump project, the Chesapeake Bay, in our work program. So I've noted that, just for your reference. Last slide here for my group. I know I'm going really fast through this. If you have any questions, please stop me. We will get upcoming presentations on the nutrient credit banking paper, probably next month. And then, the water supply planning, I think is important to note. This is a required plan by the state, that's due in 2029, and they have been releasing kind of grant funding for this piecemeal. You're gonna get a more up-to-date, and comprehensive update on this in May, at the end of this current grant round. And so, that process has been a little bit, different this time through. Some things you are not seeing on here, since this is the last slide that I want to note verbally for you. And then you will get these tables in your minutes in your packet. We have accepted, we do have Gen Tech time is what we call it, but essentially it takes on specific technical assistance requests throughout the year. So we have several Gen Tech projects that we are also managing. And then, of course, we've mentioned the Greenway transition project, and the Ready LDD grant was closed this year. So that's why you don't see it on this list here, but it was in our work program, but it has closed. I know that was a lot. Any questions about any particular project that you feel like you didn't get a chance to see, or you want to get back to, or you want an update on?
I would also, oh, I'm sorry, Steve.
Are you currently working on a project with Boonesville? Or is that past already? CDBG project?
I am not aware that community development is currently involved with Boonesville's CDBG project.
The water projects are interesting since we have a database center being proposed for Botetourt County, and people are concerned about water supply.
I suspect that when we move into public input on that, it's going to be an interesting time.
What I would also ask you, you know, as you see different programs come up, and this is a nice presentation. If there's something on here that you all would desire to have more of a drill down on, you know, the next commission meeting or so in the next month or two, let me know, let Jeremy know. You know, if there's something that you thought you just want to know more about, we get these, you know, projects with more specificity before us when we need to take some type of action typically, or as part of updates on the strat plan work program. But if there's something there that you're highly interested in, let us know, and I'll make sure that we get that scheduled on an agenda for you.
And on that note, I do have two highlight slides that I'll quickly dive into
Please.
for you, since we didn't have any other program questions. So I wanted to highlight the housing implementation project. So that is a grant that we received from Virginia Housing. The Habitat for Humanity and Restoration housing portions of that grant are completed. So what is currently outstanding is the landmark group allocation, which is a multi-family unit adaptive reuse in Covington. That has kind of been held up due to some historic permitting issues on the site. So we expect that will be completed in 2027. And then our other highlight that I wanted to note for you, since these are two big implementation funding items, is the septic pump out programs in Roanoke and Botetourt counties. And so you see a lot of numbers on here, but at a high level, 214. We had a 214 pump out goal for Roanoke County, and 106 have been completed to date. That will conclude that particular grant, and then we'll start a new phase of that grant. And then the Botetourt County grant will conclude in March. And that was a 70 pump out goal, and we'll have probably 63 completed. And the difference in our goals versus what was completed is largely due to just changing costs since the grant applications went through, as you're all familiar with how difficult it is to plan ahead on costs right now. So And that is everything I have for you without any questions, and I'll turn it back to Chris.
Thank you, Amanda. We
Thank
very
you
much
so much.
appreciate it. Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
Be fair. So for transportation projects, we wanted to focus on the projects that are happening in the regional Christian footprint. So two of the important ones we have going on are transit, micro transit support. So we support the Fair Express and the Mountain Express in Alleghany. That is ongoing. You'll see a little bit more about micro transit later. The second one we wanted to touch on was that the truck parking study was completed back in November. There are copies of the truck parking study over here on this table if anyone hasn't seen it yet. And I am also still looking for volunteers for a ongoing committee to actually try to get some truck parking. So if you guys are interested, let me know. The third thing was the Title VI plan, which has been submitted to Federal Highways for review. We've got good feedback. We did have some changes we had to make today for VDOT. It came back from VDOT. For highlights on some of our transportation updates, we just recently completed submittal for the town equipment forge Ridgeway Street SGR bridge application. So that was successful. And Allison did a great job with that. The second thing, we've got this study that has just started, Franklin County Micro Transit Feasibility Study. The study's underway. It's going to be complete in June of 2026. We also have started some discussions for the work program for Alleghany for another micro transit. And I think we've also heard about another micro transit opportunity for the city and county of Roanoke. So we're looking forward to more micro transit work and kind of building up our capabilities there. In terms of committees that our group serve on, so the Regional Bike and Pedestrian Committee, Transit Passenger Advisory Committee, the Age Friendly Community Group, and the City of Roanoke's Thriving Communities. And with those, if there's anything that anyone in the group would like us to participate in, committees or studies, anything you guys have going on, please feel free to reach out. But just thanks.
Yes, please.
I don't know if you've heard this yet, but I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. I think we were looking to submit projects, some requests to submit projects.
Yes.
And I've presented a couple ideas. One of them was this area looked at this back in the early 70s as the corridor at 460 East has continued to increase traffic both in and out of the area, as well as additional apartments that are being built in the county and in the city. I've asked for a study on a bypass around East Roanoke to take it out beyond 220 somewhere maybe, or whatever they can come up with, because I feel like that at some point in time down the road, we're going to be faced with a decision to do that. We are the only area, if you leave Washington, D.C., you go to Warrenton, Virginia, there's a bypass. You go to Culpeper, Virginia, there's a bypass. You go to Charlottesville, Virginia, there's a bypass. There's a bypass in the little town of Lovingston, even though that's not that big a deal. Proved very helpful at one time during the Hurricane Wheel. There's a bypass in Lynchburg. It was an expressway. Now there's a bypass called the expressway. You come to Bedford, there's a little bit of a bypass. You come to Roanoke, there's no bypass. 581 is not a bypass. That's a conduit to bring traffic in to this area. So I just wanted to see what kind of energy we can get from this. I don't know if we need a grant. I don't know if we need to work it up, but folks, you bring it up now or it's going to be a big problem later. And I know it's going to be expensive, but you know what? Everybody else got it done years ago. Thank goodness, probably because it's a lot less costly than it might be now. Well, something's got to be done because corridors is getting truck traffic, it's getting local traffic, it's getting through traffic. And, you know, it's going to take longer times to commute. And then when you get over to 220, Well, that's another story. You have traffic sitting there too. And this affects everyone in this area, but also Bedford County, Lynchburg commuters coming in. If you stand on 460 at Hunt Ridge, right there near the Lewis Gale Clinic, but also Walmart, Lowe's, it's a wave, literally a wave coming in from Lynchburg. I can't tell how many people from the Bedford Lynchburg area coming here and how many people from here go up there to work. It's amazing. And it's been estimated that a third of the population does that going and coming, that's 66%, but the rest of us just trying to get downtown or get across town. So I don't know how it's gonna play it out, but the request has been submitted.
So, Bill, just to clarify, this is on the TPO's radar
This is on the regional commission asked for some work study.
for the work plan.
That would probably, we have two work plans. There's the regional commission.
Yeah.
And then there's the UPWP for the TPO. If a project is solely within the urban footprint of a solely implementation project, it will land on the.
Still land. I just want to give you heads up on that.
Okay, so that's a really good conversation. Bill. Thank you for that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
Hello,
I haven't seen you guys in a while, or you haven't seen me. Been quiet. All right, so my updates, I apparently don't work as hard as anybody else. This list of projects, I don't know, we did something. My projects, commuter assistance program on track, and we're working on a really big project, or a big project on employer outreach directly with the city of Roanoke. We'll be doing a pilot program to just work with city employees to do a month pilot program to try different modes of transportation with prices, etc. So we'll report on that after the end of this year. That will be in May. We call it Love Your Commute program. And in terms of just projects that are of whole or something that just didn't work out, the Better Bus Stops for Neighborhoods, which is the grant that I have been working with the city of Roanoke had, community development grants to install bus shelters in different parts of the city. That grant, that funding didn't come through for 2026, so basically we just didn't move forward with more projects. However, the last grant that we were working on that still is waiting for shelters to be installed in the southeast neighborhood. We got support from the Roanoke's Art Commission. So the construction work had already been done and leveraged through many city projects. And we just needed and we had already the designs for the bus shelters. We just needed the funding to build the bus shelters, to customize the bus shelters with the corresponding art, and the Roanoke Arts Commission is providing that funding so we can complete that project. As highlights, really a project we're really proud of, and I believe I showed this project to you guys, was the How to Ride Valley Metro bus video, what we used. We collaborated with the mayors of all the localities where Valley Metro serves. We also had other community organizations participate in this video. This video has been widely viewed and shared among partners in our region with a very valuable education piece. And we have submitted it for several awards, especially nationally. So hopefully we'll get to do more projects like that. It's really fun to do. And yeah, that's my highlights.
Thank you so much. Any questions? Okay. Great one.
Good afternoon. I'm going to share a little bit about what's going on with the collective response. Our program is a little bit different where most of the things we have going on are ongoing. There's not necessarily a beginning, middle, and end, but I wanted to highlight two really big things we've been working on. The first one you've heard about a little bit in the last few months, which is the Blueprint for Action update. just an overview, the Blueprint for Action is our regional data-driven roadmap for addressing the opioid and addiction crisis. It's built from community input, shared data, and cross-sector collaboration. The original was released in 2020, but the new update is coming out, will be brought to this body next month. And what's exciting about it is this time the update covers, it assessed the whole regional commission footprint, so all of our localities, and this one is going to be a 5-year update, so that's really exciting. It was recently used in Roanoke City's OAA grant application to gauge alignment with our area's documented needs and alignment with regional strategies. So it's really meant to help ensure efforts and investments are strategic, aligned, and responsive to our real community needs. Now, this feels really timely after what Chair Clark shared. It's been a really volatile week in our world, but this is the Peers Network, which is very near and dear to my heart. Since the Peer Recovery Network came under the commission, we've grown to over 250 peer recovery specialists. Now, this started, just so you have some context, with a couple people in a park a few years ago. So over 250 members is a really, really big deal. Through this network, our peer recovery specialists get access to things like ongoing trainings, shared learning opportunities, mentorship, connection. Recently, we brought Dr. Kim Horn, a national author who did her first training here with us because she used to work for Virginia Tech. The collective response has also a special place in her heart. She came and did a training about focused on connection, boundaries, and relationship tenets. And this is just all really important that we're supporting peer recovery specialists because it really is about workforce sustainability. And this training kind of helped us see that when we invest in our peer recovery specialists, we're investing in the work that they do for our individuals and families that they're serving. So that's a couple things that we're working on. I can go back to our list of projects if you have any more questions. Any questions?
You got some awesome workers here.
I'm telling you what,
You really have.
our staff knocks it out of the park. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Anybody next up on deck?
Hello.
Mr. Hall?
I think that's
That's it?
that's it for the project updates. I will take a moment, Madam Chair, and make 2 quick comments. As you can tell, we do a lot of stuff. We do a lot of little projects, and so by necessity, we gloss over kind of if things are going well. We sort of want to let you know that they're going well and kind of focus on some highlights for things going behind. I will note that one of the goals this coming year with the work program committee, and we've already had this discussion with them, is, traditionally we bring you this work program update once a year. So if you're not directly in the locality involved in these projects, you don't always get to see what's happening. Our goal in the coming year as part of the strategic plan implementation is to engage the work program committee in more regular updates and progress updates. So you won't, as the full board, necessarily see all the deep stuff that we're going to get into, but the work program committee will spend more time with staff on the progress and be able to bring updates back or help make sure that we're on pace with the implementation of the work program. And I want to do one final plug for Ms. Medeiros' blueprint. When that comes to this body next month, and one of the real benefits of that plan is that she said that was a key part of the Roanoke City's Opioid Abatement Authority's application. The data in that report helped justify the extra money they went for. That's not the direct allocation that they get. So we want that to be a tool for all of you. If you've got programs, projects, etc., for which the OAA would be a good funding source. They do have a cooperative grant pool. That's not the money that your localities are directly receiving. This study and plan will be a really good opportunity to figure out how we might be able to coordinate across many of you, particularly the rural counties who don't get a lot of direct allocation, but may still have major needs in terms of workforce or service delivery or transportation or other things like that. We want this study, this plan, to be a funding tool for you to go after those grants and our staff, to help do the grant writing. But we just want to make that has a direct implementation pathway through to OAA.
Very, very good. Any questions? I just want to thank, these program updates are outstanding. I really like this component on our agenda. And it really gives you guys a chance to shine, you know, in terms of all of the work that you're doing. So please know how grateful we are for your work, and coming and sharing all your good results with us. Thank you. All right, we're gonna move on to the 2025 hazard mitigation plan. Ms. Mickey?
Hey, so, just to start with orienting everyone with how we got here. I was expecting to bring you this in February, so, we happily got the go ahead to go ahead and have this, this presentation today, sort of last minute, so, thank you all for making the time for this today, because I know it's a long agenda. So, what is the hazard mitigation plan? So here, this map shows you the service area for the hazard mitigation plan. This is a federally required document. It enables funding from FEMA and pass through funding through VDM for listed projects in the plan. So that would be usually hazard mitigation funding is tied to a specific disaster event. As you know, we had a specific and significant disaster event in 2024, Hurricane Helene, that did affect the state of Virginia. So we are eligible for those disaster funds, and they will be making that the determinations on those applications very soon. And we have to have an approved plan in place in order to receive that allocation of funding. So that is why we're kind of on a schedule with this plan. So this is a federally required document. It covers our entire service area, excepting Franklin County and the associated towns. That is because they are covered by the West Piedmont Plan. So other organizations that may surprise you that are adopting jurisdictions include the Western Virginia Water Authority and the Roanoke Valley Resource Authority. That's a new element to the plan this year, and that is they are defined as special districts by FEMA, and that makes them eligible also to apply for funds. So that is why we're here. Timeline for this. We received the grant award in 2023, but due to staffing issues, we were not able to actually begin work on the project until 2024, September of 2024. So this was a very tight turnaround. This was pretty much a total rewrite of this document. And if you have had the chance to look at it, it is a lot of technical information and a lot of verbiage. So we did submit to FEMA in December of 2025 and received our approved pending adoption status in January 12th. And now we're here. This is just kind of a high level table of contents of the plan. It's also included in your packet and your staff report. But generally the meat of the plan in terms of recommendations is in chapter 7. And chapters 3 and 4 give you kind of a context of the risk in the region. You also note, I want to note for y'all that chapter 5 has a capabilities assessment, which is required element of the plan, and it just looks at your budget and your staffing characteristics around mitigation. There's also numerous appendices. I won't spend too much time here, but if you're curious about the contents of the appendices, these are all the things that we had to look at to come up with the risk assessment and the projects and recommendations in the document. So what did we look at in this document? You can select from a variety of hazards. The hazards that our steering committee chose to assess include earthquake, extreme temperature, flooding, geologic hazards, wildfire, wind, and winter storm. You'll also note a hurricane and tropical storm. The impacts of this were assessed under flooding and wind, and the high hazard potential dam element we did choose to include in the plan, since that enables certain pots of high hazard potential dam funding through DCR. So that's everything we looked at. There, things that we did not look at. We did have, of course, the COVID-19 disaster declaration. We did not include pandemic in this particular plan. We did not include drought, and that is because it is required under the water supply plans I referred to earlier. That's a state mandated process. There was a question raised, I think at our last regional commission meeting, about man-made hazards or human caused hazards, basically public safety elements, active shooter, bomb threat kind of things. We did not include that in this plan. Other PDCs have included that in their plans. In terms of public engagement, we did a significant amount of public engagement with this project. It was probably the most robust public engagement that we've had on a community development project in a while. So I think there are definitely lessons that we learned in that process that we can improve on. But generally, we did an online survey, and then we did individual stakeholder outreach to existing technical groups in the region. For the online survey, we did receive 251 responses. About not a whole lot of diversity in the responses, but we did see 13% of responses from households earning less than $50,000 a year. That is self-reported. So I was happy to see that. Most of our responses were from Salem. Salem really likes online surveys, apparently. But we did receive responses from all of our jurisdictions, so that was good. Some of the things we heard from folks, we asked a couple of different questions, but these are the two I think that are most interesting for this group. Have you or someone you know experienced flooding, the runaway wind there? I don't think that's a surprise for most folks in our region. And then in terms of hazards you're most concerned about, I would say this graphic is kind of reversed. So you actually want to look at the yellow and the green, not the kind of dark blue and the medium blue there. But again, flooding is a high concern for folks. Wind, a high concern, and winter weather. So not anything very surprising there. And it echoed a lot of what we saw in our risk assessment. So here is the outcome of the risk assessment. There's a lot of technical back-end stuff that went into this. I encourage you to read the plan. I will, if you are interested, this is located in chapter 4, so that's the risk model. The regional score is what I'll focus on with this particular group. We had a high score for flooding and a high score for wind events. The wind event is a little bit of a surprise, I think. It's an emerging issue across the region, but that was actually where we had the most fatalities in the region in terms of disaster events in the past few years. So if you're wondering why that scored high, the fatality element is as part of that. And then extreme temperatures and winter storm, I don't think are a surprise for coming in as kind of the next most at risk. Earthquake was, if you'll remember, the thing people were least concerned about. Earthquake came in higher largely because of our housing stock. And most of the homes in the area were built before some of the regulations for earthquake safety. So the likelihood of an earthquake happening very low, but the impact, should we have a significant earthquake event, would be quite high in terms of the damage and to the region. So that is why it came in at medium. And then geologic hazards included karst and landslide, and wildfire, of course, is self-explanatory. Wildfire is, of course, higher for some of our localities that have significant square foot acreage in Forest Service or exposure of their kind of like suburban developments to that type of land cover, right? So that's the factor there. some specific takeaways, for us, this is basically where I focus on our project list. Things with bold and asterisks next to them are our projects that have been submitted to the work program this year. These are the short-term projects that we identified. So these, of course, are the things that we would be working on in the next couple of years. One of the big things is training our staff, and I think that will be ongoing in hazard mitigation, so that this doesn't just live with me. Then also, the annual updates on regional and local project progress and plan documentation are required activities by VDM and FEMA. That's been a requirement in the past, but is more strictly enforced now. And then the update of the 2005 flood prone roadway studies has some synergy with our transportation team. So there's opportunities to go ahead and implement that. I'll note, one of the things on here is maintaining an active regional database of repetitive loss properties. This is really important for if you're a CRS community, which gives you reduced flood insurance for your residents. You're required to have a database of repetitive loss properties. Our access to that information has lapsed as an organization. Luckily, by happenstance, DCR and FEMA are now in the process of signing an agreement so that the only way that you'll be able to get that information is through DCR. You can no longer go directly to FEMA. So we are in conversations with DCR about that, and we'll, as soon as we receive word to move forward with that, we should be in a good place to kind of reinstate our repetitive loss information and have that up to date. So, medium-term projects. A lot of these are less flood related, but not all of them. The critical and vulnerable facilities flood vulnerability study is specifically included in the projects that I submitted for the work program to the work program committee next year, because we have access right now to some new flood maps that are going to be rolled out, and also to some flood mapping technology that we may not have after this year. And so that just trying to capitalize on that opportunity, even though it's a little less time sensitive. And then we have some long-term projects, so those could go into the next planning window, possibly. This is a 5-year planning window, so all of these projects in theory would need to be done in the next 5 years, but realistically, these are the ones that are most likely to migrate into the new plan iteration. And that does include a regional stormwater management plan update potentially, which is a document that I didn't actually know we had. So there was a discovery process in this process. I think it was last updated a couple of decades ago, so it's out of date. And then FEMA also included in their plan review tool several recommendations for the plan, and in our approval letter indicated to us that we should consider those in the next plan update. So what do we need now? Of course, I will entertain any questions, but at this time, you should have in your packet a resolution to adopt this plan. We do need that resolution to pass, and then to deliver that back to FEMA in order to make us eligible for applying to future hazard mitigation grants.
Amanda, thank you so much. That was very comprehensive. Any questions for Amanda on her presentation, Mr. Sandy?
Just procedurally, do we vote or not vote from Franklin County, because we're not
For the
really part of it?
PDC, that's good, that's a good question.
I don't have any objection to it, we're just not part of it.
It's a great point.
I think as members of the voting regional commission board, you certainly can, if you felt you should abstain. I think that would be fine, but you are voting members of the regional commission, so I think you still have a voice, even if it doesn't directly. Even if Franklin's not included, there's probably some tangential consideration.
I'll note the water authority is also included and does serve your jurisdiction, so.
Yeah. Okay, are there any questions? Okay, you have a resolution in your packet. And I will entertain a motion to approve this resolution that will go to FEMA and VDM. Is there a motion?
Move the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Balls. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Dean, all those in favor, do we need a voice vote on this? Voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And that carries unanimously. Thank you for all of your work on this.
Thank you.
Very comprehensive project.
Yeah. It was a lot. A lot to learn about.
Thank you. Okay, very good. We've got the Craig Botetourt Trail update, Mr. Lips.
On behalf of the Craig Valley Railroad Bed Committee, I'd like to thank you for your time today. Our committee was established in the spring of 2022 with representatives from both Craig County and Botetourt County. Our task was to liaison with all parties involved, between government agencies involved and the public, to do research, collect information, and share that information, factual information, as the project progressed, and to work on opportunities to develop partnerships. As you probably know, this project has a long history, as this trail was first envisioned over 50 years ago. Today, I'm going to focus on the progress that's been made the last 3.5 years. To start with, I want to show you the investments that have been made in the project in this last 3-year period. You see the Commonwealth funding there, and I really want to highlight what Pathfinders for Greenways has done for the project and the work of the midweek crew. We have now accumulated almost $20 million towards completion of the project. We first partnered with Pathfinders because the first mile of the Craig Botetourt Scenic Trail actually opened in 2012. We call it the Craig County Greenway. And that 1 mile runs from Newcastle, Craig City, technically a housing development next door, to our school complex. And that trail had a lot of deferred maintenance. And when we started talking about the larger project, trail opponents immediately brought up the fact that you don't maintain what you got. So we partnered with Pathfinder's midweek crew to help us with the deferred maintenance on the 1 mile trail. I skipped one there. Another problem with our 1 mile greenway is this section right here had a design flaw. It was the lowest point in a 40-acre field. And it often held water and it was difficult to, you'd have to wade through there. So the midweek crew raised a 600-foot-long section by 8 inches, compacted the new surface, and now it pretty much stays out of the water all the time. And just a personal note, wait a minute. Back up here. We're not there yet. This thing's got mine, so. Personal note, that's my grandson and his brother. And they're the 4th generation of my family to enjoy recreation on the railroad.
That's wonderful.
VDOT was so impressed with the work on the Greenway that they issued a permit to the Pathfinders and the midweek crew and told us to just keep going. So that's what a lot of sections of the railroad bed look like. And here we see the Pathfinders crew at work out there. That's what it's beginning to look like this past summer. A lot of unauthorized off-road vehicle damage has occurred while the railroad bed wasn't in work. And it wasn't being used for anything, really. And based on public input and our committee recommendations, VDOT began maintenance and stabilization of the railroad bed in January of 2024. Pathfinders for Greenways led this effort by removing the brush, down trees, and hazard trees along the grade. And a VDOT hourly rate contractor followed with VDOT engineer on site to direct the operations. That right there is what much of the railroad bed looks like today because of this effort. VDOT has now stabilized and completed this basic maintenance on 5 sections of the railroad bed for a total of approximately 9 miles, including one on-road section where the trail is going to share a lightly used gravel road. We have a near 12-mile section that now exists from Mill Creek, Fenwick Mines area in Craig County to the 92 bridge. In addition, Pathfinders secured a project outside grant to help offset some costs. And they secured a grant from the Virginia Outdoors Foundation for $200,000. We used that to purchase a 15-acre tract of land near Oriskany for a midpoint trailhead. VDOT has held public information meetings in 2023. Approximately 80% of the public comments in favor of the trail. They had design public hearings this past July, and again, 80% positive comments towards the trail. This month, January, we expect the bridge designs to be complete. The complete project design by March 2026. VDOT needs a few easements, temporary easements for construction and drainage easement permanent. They're working on that right now. And they anticipate advertising for construction in August 2026. As planned, the trail will follow the Craig Valley branch line 26 miles from Newcastle in Craig County to Eagle Rock in Botetourt County. Current funding, however, leaves us one bridge, maybe two. This is the 66 bridge. This is the bridge that's in question. There's a trailhead plan just on the other side of the bridge at Tar. We know the funding will get us there. We're not sure if we get across this bridge. And then we have 6 miles in this bridge in phase 2 to get to Eagle Rock. We really need to get to Eagle Rock, a 26-mile trail connecting these two communities will truly have, I think, regional significance. The 20 miles to get to Par is going to be a really nice trail and it's going to get a lot of use. But to achieve the economic benefits that I think this project will bring, we really need to get to Eagle Rock. And VDOT's telling me we got to find about another 12 million to do that. Well, if all goes well, I anticipate completion of phase 1 to Par, so probably in the spring of 2028. Work continues towards the development of a comprehensive management plan for the trail. Because as Ken King likes to say, when this thing opens, the county's got to take care of the daily care and feeding of it. VDOT's gonna do the maintenance of large items like the bridges, culvert washouts, slope failures, things like that. But managing the volunteers, the regulations, providing law enforcement, emergency response, falls to the counties to do. So we're in the process of developing a comprehensive management plan for the trail. That's probably something we're gonna need professional help with. So how did we accomplish so much in 3.5 years? Been worked on for 50. This has been a truly collaborative effort. And I want to close with some thanks. Thanks go to my friend and our delegate, Terry Austin, for his unwavering support for this project. Of course, Craig and Botetourt County Board of Supervisors and staff, DDOT Sale District and our awesome project manager, Kelly Dunn. I'm here to tell you that, trails aren't roads. DDOT does an awesome job producing infrastructure. Trails are a little bit different, but the Sale District has really adapted well. And they've been great to work with, each and every one of them. Thanks go to Pete Eshelman, Roanoke Outside Foundation, the Greenway Commission, and Frank McGuire, who helped us when he was with the Greenway Commission. I can't say enough about Pathfinders. Liz Belcher and the Midweek crew have contributed so much to the project. It's been amazing. And last but not least, this commission, past and present, staff, past and present. Because I'm convinced y'all have helped keep this idea alive for so long. That might be the most important contribution of all. That's my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. Yes.
$12 million more is needed to complete the trip.
Yes, sir.
That's the two bridges.
The 2 bridges and the 6 miles, and the reason that cost was so high, getting across those bridges.
Yeah. The bridges aren't cheap. So has Delegate Austin filed a budget amendment? I don't see one. I just checked to seek some funds.
We've been working with him on that. I don't know where we are. I will say this. This trail was funded as part of the 5-trail package. Shenandoah Valley got 35 million. They're not building the trail now. They're building a $700 million railroad with a trail next to it. They've purchased or spent money. They have 12 million left over in their pot.
Oh.
I have asked Delegate Austin if we can have that 12 million.
Well, the budget amendments had to be in by last Friday. And so they're showing up in here now, and I'm seeing some, I just told you about one. So I'm just, maybe it's gonna show up, maybe it's not being queried right now, but that's the easy way to get money. I don't know if you'd ask for all of it, but you certainly would ask for some. And I don't know if the Greenway Commission has any stake in this or not, but is it outside of my purview or?
The Greenway Commission itself, Craig County isn't, I know Frank McGuire probably provided attendance for Pathfinders. It's a separate nonprofit.
I gotcha.
That's where that falls. Now, under the new structure, then yes, Craig County is a member of the commission.
Right.
That position and related work would be able to support, you know, whatever activities we needed to do.
The sports field project would have you successful.
I suspect not. I think it would come through the trail, the trail authority of the state, probably not a UDOT sports field, but we can investigate.
You know, the Department of Natural Resources, I mean, they're trying to get Oak Hill in the state park. I mean, my goodness. This to me seems like a nice bit of that. If I were you, what I would recommend you do, is you get your county attorney and county administrator, chairman of the board, make an appointment. Talk to Terry first to see whether he wants to go with you or see if he has a better idea and go see the new director of natural resources and see what might be able to be done to help, because to me, this has great economic impact. And by the way, if you haven't figured out the economic impact, I think you should probably look into that. And Jeremy can help with that through the regional partnership or somebody, because first thing people are gonna ask you is, well, what's the benefit? And that's what economic impact is. So have all that ready to go before you go, but that's what I think you need to be doing between now and next year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, your grandson, my grandson go to the same preschool, I understand.
It's a small world.
They need to stick together right on this trail.
Here we go. Here we go.
Are there any other questions?
It doesn't connect to history, but it does connect a large residential development in Craig County.
Probably can actually save us to school funding as well.
I think they did when they built that one,
Okay.
back in 2012. Anything else? If not, thank you again for your.
Thank you, Woody. Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
was just gonna say, it's, you know, it has a lot of similarities to the Creeper Trail, and that's a wonderful asset down in, I guess that's Washington County, so.
Well, one of the things our committee, of course, we're not professionals at this, but our committee's done some basic economic analysis. We've also looked at the economic analysis been done like the Creeper Trail, and some of the other trails. And we've looked at volume of use on the Jackson River Trail, Creeper Trail, the Chesapeake Trail. We visited all those trails, talked to those trail managers. We can safely say that whatever either county has to invest in the daily care and feeding is going to way more than be covered by the increased tax revenue. We just can't say how much. And folks like the legislature and trail opponents, they don't want to believe people like me. It doesn't really matter what my calculations are. I'm for the trail, so it can't be right.
Right.
But yes, a proper economic analysis would be outstanding. We did approach Virginia Tech and asked them through a kind of a grant program if their extension service office up there would do an economic analysis. Unfortunately, they didn't select our project. They said it was too complex for what they were doing. So.
Gotcha. I can't remember if it runs through any national forest, but that might, I think that's what's helping fund a lot of the Creeper Trail repairs is national forest money.
It's interesting you bring up national forest. A little bit this goes through national forest. And I was involved in the 2001 effort because I worked for the national forest. This time around, the national forest wants nothing to do with us. And I think it has to do with the perception of, public opposition to the trail. They just don't want to deal with that. The real opposition to this trail is actually fairly minimal when you analyze what people are saying. They're very vocal. They're very deep.
Thank you, Woody. We very much appreciate this and keep us updated. If you would, we want to make sure that we're there to support you
Thank you.
in any ways that, that staff can help you with.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next item on our agenda is the Blue Ridge Parkway Foundation resolution support that we have in the packet, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We'll be brief and short. Those of you who attended the annual dinner got to hear Dr. Carolyn Ward speak very passionately about the the Blue Ridge Parkway. And last year around this time, Kevin Brandt from the Parkway Foundation provided an update on the Blue Ridge Rising Plan, which is the coordinated strategic plan from the foundation across Virginia, North Carolina to secure additional investments in the parkway. The legislative committee met, we met with the Parkway Foundation. Committee met independently a few weeks ago to consider whether we should support the Parkway Foundation's legislative request from Virginia for $1.5 million in investments in the parkway, viewshed, et cetera. There's a similar request in North Carolina. The legislative committee, because this isn't on our existing legislative agenda, they need to review that. They are recommending approval of this resolution and support. What Mr. North said is that Delegate Davis has already submitted a budget amendment on the House side for $1.5 million. And Senator Deeds, I don't know if it's gone through yet, but Senator Deeds was going to submit the budget amendment on the Senate side. So there is legislative support for this. This resolution would then go to Senator Deeds and Delegate Davis and anyone else who needs to see this support. So they are recommending adoption. Happy to answer any questions. That I should note, this resolution you have in your hand is basically the same one that all 29 counties along the Blue Ridge Parkway have adopted already. It's the first time all Blue Ridge Parkway Gateway communities have undertaken such a concerted effort. So we are joining a loud chorus already asking for this support.
Hey, any questions?
If I'm not mistaken, I think there was an article in today's Roanoke Times about it and the fact that, I think it was today's, and the fact that every jurisdiction along it was in favor of it.
Very good, very
Yeah.
good. Thank you, Dee. Appreciate that. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so you have a resolution in your packet. I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Sandy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that carries unanimously. Okay, we have a couple other quick matters. Mr. Holmes with the Roanoke River Blueway.
Actually.
Amanda again.
And if you don't mind, I'm gonna jump ahead of you. I'm gonna
Okay,
do a
go
work
for
program committee, update real quick.
Yeah.
And then let you go, but from committee reports, we are gonna add the work program and budget committee to the standing committee reports. Ms. Smith, who attended the committee meeting, suggested that you might want to hear from them. I just wanted to share on the committee's behalf, and I'll invite Ms. Erdman and Ms. King to add anything else that you would like. The committee met for the first time last Friday. They had epic education opportunity about how the work program and budget is developed. And actually, if Mr. Kevler of this part, if you want to hold up the workbooks that Virginia passed out to you, we gave them textbooks this year.
A little light reading. perhaps.
For how to go about this process. And again, what we're doing is, we've always done the work program committee, we've always engaged all of you on selecting and projects, but we are sort of elevating that process in light of the strategic plan to elevate that decision-making process and to tie it more closely to the budget. So I did feed them lunch, but we had them for about an hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes, going over a lot of stuff that the work program committee generally isn't involved in, but we appreciate their time. That project period is open now, closes February 13th, and that committee will get hard to work on homework after that to review all of your projects. And start helping us decide what gets involved.
It was very informational, even for someone who's been on the commission for a couple of years. They've learned a whole lot that day.
Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. It was worth every second of the hour and whatever.
She's a walking commercial.
Thank you, Amanda, that's all I need to say for the work program.
Yeah,
I
that's
know you have
wonderful.
slides, so.
I'm excited to hear updates from the work program committee. That's great. The Roanoke River Blueway Advisory Committee, which is one of your official subcommittees, did ask me to do a kind of a touch base with y'all. That was before I knew that we were gonna have the hazard mitigation plan on the agenda. So my apologies for stacking all of these presentations with you at once today. But so let's get started. I'm gonna very high level gloss over these slides, but the first couple of slides are just like orienting you to what the Blueway is and where it stretches, and then what the contributions are for the funding that we receive. So here's some of the work that we have done in the past, and then focusing more on what we're doing more now. We have the Roanoke River Blueway brochure, which is currently being updated. The website was updated in FY24. And then, of course, a lot of that's marketing materials and outreach materials to promote this Blueway. And you can see the map over there of how that is also co-located with the Greenway network. So we funded some improvements through this funding. Wayside Park and 13th Street both received $10,000 contributions to kind of provide some additional match for their grant applications for those respective grant pools for those projects. And here's a picture of some of the work that was done at both of those locations. Really beautiful work if you get out there. Previously, these were largely just kind of like mud surfaces for people to wade down into the water. We've also funded kiosk signage within the 4 localities along the Blueway that's consistent and has consistent messaging about using the Blueway. And then the Blue Wave Committee has had a key role in regional advocacy around the Niagara Dam project. You can see the map over here of part of the dam area. It gives you kind of an aerial of the portage, which is that yellow line here. That is it's a very long portage that takes boaters around the dam for their safety. That is entirely within AEP's property boundary now, officially for FERC. So we are expecting that they will publish a recreation management plan this spring. That we are meant to provide comments on with them. So that is ongoing, but that is the end of the relicensing process, which is a once in 40-year event and has been multiple meetings, multiple comments produced for FERC over the past several years. So I don't know what happened to my slide here, but you can't see it, so I'll just read it to you. What's next for the Roanoke River Blueway? You'll note that we have the Blueway gap analysis in the work program this year that has been delayed due to staffing, but we're hoping as the recreation planner comes online, that we will be able to really kick that off and be more proactive in terms of really finishing kind of developing this asset for the region. We're looking right now at a grant with the Virginia Tourism Corporation to update marketing materials and signage across the Blueway network, since as you may be aware, there's several developments along the Blueway that have been very high profile, including the In-River Kayak Park in the city, which is a huge project that the city is largely leading, but will mean that all of our marketing materials are now out of date. And then of course there's new access points coming online. I think we will see some big changes to the Niagara Dam. Access and portage, of course, as we mentioned, but also we may see some opportunities in the Explore Park area now that Roanoke County owns that. So a lot of really cool things happening on this corridor, and it's a really unique asset for our region because it's co-located with the Roanoke River Greenway and because it is very urban. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but if you are wondering, why do we have a Roanoke River Blueway Committee? This has been a really key initiative and something that your staff have expressed a lot of appreciation for, because it's allowed them to really elevate this facility. So that's all I have. Any questions? Mr. Baldwin?
Ms. McGee, wonderful presentation. One of the things in the what's coming next is in the city we'll be redoing the low water bridge.
Yes.
And so I just wanted to flag that we're having the issue of having to take the Greenway in a completely different route because we won't be able to do a temporary bridge or anything like that over it. So just wanted to flag that for the Blueway group as well.
Yeah, we're very aware of that. And for those who aren't aware, if you've ever floated that corridor, the Smith Park low water bridge at the bottom of Smith Park is not safe to float through at all. I've seen people do it. It's not a good idea. And so that will be replaced by something with a box culvert similar to the Wasena Park bridge that's just above that bridge. And so that will be something that people can float under without portaging when that's in place. So we're very supportive of that project, but it does mean if you're familiar with some of the impacts of the Blueway from the Wasena Bridge, the road bridge, we've been redirecting folks out of the water under that construction area. So it's going to be kind of a similar impact for the Smith Park to the Blueway itself in terms of having to redirect folks around that construction area or to pull out their boats out or whatever well before they get to that site. So there will be some messaging we did around that for sure. Yeah.
Any other questions for Ms. McGee? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've done a lot of hard work, young lady. All right, that will do it for our committee reports, as I understand it, Mr. Holmes. Is there any other business to come before the commission? Anything on your mind? Any comments from commissioners? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Thank you, all those in favor, please say aye. Thank you all for your time this afternoon. Thank you very, very good.
That's all.
Yes, it does.
Very excited to make that one.
Oh, yeah. Wait an hour and a half when it gets there.
Oh.
Already good.
Yeah.